What if I told you there was a time, not so long ago, when every path, every ship, every voice, and every dream seemed to lead to one single place, a city that pulsed like the very heart of the world? For over a century, that city was London. When the sun rose over its stone skyline and the Thames carried the morning fog, London didn't just wake up, the world did. From its crowded docks to its marble halls, this city became the compass of an empire, a machine of trade, ambition, and invention that reached across every ocean. It was said that you could stand in London and feel the planet turning beneath your feet. Imagine the scene. Ships arriving daily from India, Africa, and the Americas, their sails heavy with silk, sugar, gold, and tea. In the smoky air of the East India docks, languages from every corner of the globe mingled: Bengali, Swahili, Arabic, Mandarina, human orchestra, conducted by empire. The city's warehouses overflowed, its banks multiplied, and its streets began to glow with gaslight and endless promise. By 1870, a staggering 1 in every 5 people on Earth lived under British rule, and all roads, literal and political, led back to this one restless metropolis. But London was more than just the empire's capital, it was its brain. Within the grand walls of the Bank of England, the wealth of entire continents was calculated daily. On Lombard Street, stockbrokers in top hats dictated the fortunes of distant nations. And in dimly lit offices, clerks in threadbare coats moved sums of money large enough to build railways, topple kingdoms, and finance wars. The pound sterling wasn't just currency. It became the pulse of civilization, its value echoing through the corridors of Bombay, Cairo, and Cape Town. Above ground, the city buzzed with invention. Engineers dug tunnels deep beneath its feet, birthing the world's first underground railway, a marvel that would change urban life forever. Telegraph wires, like a web of nerves, connected the government in Whitehall to the farthest colonies in mere seconds. London became the planet's central nervous system, transmitting orders, dreams, and fears faster than history could even comprehend. In smoky, wood-paneled clubs along Pall Mall, the most powerful men of the Europoliticians, scientists, and explorers met to decide the fate of the next century. They saw themselves as stewards of progress, architects of a grand destiny. And for a moment, perhaps they were. Institutions like the Royal Society, the British Museum, and the Royal Geographical Society turned London into a temple of knowledge. Fossils, ancient manuscripts, and Egyptian mummies arrived daily. Relics of entire worlds reimagined as exhibits for the public to gaze upon in wonder. In Kensington and Bloomsbury, the city became a library of humanity itself. Scholars mapped the stars and the seas, while inventors refined engines that made distance feel insignificant. All of this energy, this power, this relentless forward motion was captured in 1851 beneath the glittering arches of the Crystal Palace. The Great Exhibition was a glass cathedral to industry and empire, where Britain displayed not only its might, but its boundless imagination. For 6 incredible months, millions walked its halls, seeing the future gleam under iron and light. They called London the workshop of the world, and for a brief, shining moment, it seemed absolutely unstoppable. Yet, down at street level, the miracle and the misery lived side by side. The clip-clop of horse-drawn carriages carrying the wealthy rolled past beggars sleeping on the bridges. Theaters dazzled with light and laughter, while nearby factories thundered and choked the sky with smoke. London was growing faster than it could breathe. Its sewers overflowed, and its labyrinthine alleys were thick with smog. But still, it pulsed forward, hungry and unafraid. Writers like Charles Dickens became the city's conscience, chronicling its stark contradictions, and engineers like Joseph Bazalgette became its saviors, building the unseen arteries, the vast sewer systems that kept it alive. When evening fell, the city would transform. It s'immergeait. It s'immergeait. Gas lamps lined the Strand like stars that had fallen to earth, and the dark current of the Thames mirrored them back. To stand on Waterloo Bridge at night was to see the empire in miniature. Its magnificent glow, its immense reach, its restless, beating heart. London was also the empire's voice. From the printing presses of Fleet Street, newspapers spoke to the colonies and back again, their words shaping global opinion. Messages crossed oceans through the first submarine cables, linking governors, merchants, and monarchs in a constant, invisible conversation of command. Inside the Houses of Parliament, maps were unfolded and redrawn, deciding the fate of millions abroad. Outside, crowds would gather to cheer, caught up in the illusion that London's triumph was the world's triumph. Even culture obeyed its gravitational pull. Poets, painters, and playwrights turned the empire's sprawling story into legend. Shakespeare's language, the English tongue, became a new kind of Empire One, carried not by conquest, but by conversation. By the year 1900, London's population had swelled to over 6 million. It was the largest, most populous city in all of human history, a living monument to ambition. From the rough and tumble docks of Limehouse to the elegant drawing rooms of Mayfair, it radiated power with the confidence of eternity. But what made it truly extraordinary wasn't just its scale, but its influence. In politics, finance, fashion, and even faith, London dictated the rhythm of the age. When its stock exchange opened, markets from Hong Kong to Montreal followed suit. When its theaters premiered a new play, the colonies were quoting its lines within weeks. Even time itself obeyed London. Every clock in the empire, from the windswept plains of Canada to the jungles of Malaya, was synchronized to Greenwich Mean Time. The city didn't just measure the hours, it defined them. From its grand cathedrals to its crowded pubs, London has always embodied contradiction, empire, and empathy, unimaginable wealth and desperate want, pride and humility. And perhaps that is why its story endures, because within its beautiful chaos, we find a reflection of humanity itself. Long after the empire's borders dissolved and the maps were redrawn once more, the city remained a symbol not of domination, but of endurance. Its skyline still tells the story of how a small island once held the world in its grasp, and how that grasp eventually became a handshake with history. The echoes of that incredible age still linger in every stone arch and cobblestone street corner, in the deep chime of Big Ben, in the rhythm rumble of the underground, and in the very air that still carries the voices of 100 nations. London no longer rules the world, but it still speaks to it. And it makes you wonder, when a city has already been the center of the world, does it ever truly stop being its heart? Thanks for joining me on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this story and want to explore more incredible histories, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.